What's up? I am David Long. I want to talk to you real quick today about this idea of why we need religion. I'm going to share a clip with you real quick from this recent video I made about some talks between Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson. I'll put links to that video at the end and down below. There are many people who think that what we need to do is to get rid of religion, and I do not think this is the case at all. I think what we need is a healthy religion. You're like, healthy religion? What is that? Well, it's because you're thinking about the unhealthy parts of religion. Let me explain. A lot of the governments we have all over the world are corrupt and failing and dysfunctional. But we don't say, oh, we need to get rid of government. No, government serves important functions and roles. And what we would need to do ultimately is to create a functioning, healthy form of government that is appropriate for our time and our worldview. I would argue the same is the case for religion. Joseph Campbell says that when religions and mythologies are working properly, they serve four main functions. The first function is the mystical function, which opens up the mystery of everything, which is also your mystery. Now, notice I said the word mystery here. That's an important word. I'm not saying the absolute truth that can be communicated. And in fact, many religions throughout time have had it part of their religious understanding that absolute truth was beyond anyone's ability to speak about. The second function is the cosmological function, which is to serve and incorporate the knowledge of the day and the time. This is honestly why so many religions are so outdated, because cosmology has changed and grown and upgraded and updated so fast that no religious tradition was able to keep up with it. So the third function is the sociological function, which is to bind together a group with roles and rules. Now, the problem is that if it doesn't serve the second cosmological function, then those roles and rules will be out of date for another time, for another place. So it's really important to get that right. The fourth function is the pedagogical function, which is to move the individual through the inevitable stages and crises of life in terms of their time and their potentials and dangers. This can be things like initiation rituals into adulthood, births, weddings, funerals, all these kinds of things. So these are all important parts of the structure of a society that hold people's worldview together, that hold people together not only in relationship to a culture, but in a relationship to nature and to reality. So basically, I think that we're at a point in our history to where we have a pretty good grasp on cosmology, and we can actually start to have a healthy religion again. Now, what I think that looks like is something much more like a comparative mythology and a holistic integrative practice. What does that mean? Humans are storytellers. That's the universal theme. Some stories are more true than others. For example, the Big Bang is more accurate of a story than traditional creation myths. Basically, what I'm talking about is seeing all the world's traditions as all part of our human tradition, and looking for the overarching themes and universal patterns, as well as the particular cultural inflections, and seeing which each tradition might have to teach us about what it is to be human. So what we see when we look across all these cultures is that there are these universal ideas like absolute unity, and you get that from science, where you got people like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how we are stardust, we are the universe coming to know itself.
The atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up the human body, are traceable to the crucibles that cooked light elements into heavy elements in their core under extreme temperatures and pressures. These stars, the high-mass ones among them, when unstable in their later years, they collapsed and then exploded, scattering their enriched guts across the galaxy. Guts made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the fundamental ingredients of life itself. These ingredients become part of gas clouds that condense, collapse, form the next generation of solar systems, stars with orbiting planets. And those planets now have the ingredients for life itself. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When I reflect on that fact, I look up. Many people feel small because they're small and the universe is big, but I feel big because my atoms came from those stars. There's a level of connectivity. That's really what you want in life. You want to feel connected. You want to feel relevant. You want to feel like you're a participant in the goings-on of activities and events around you. That's precisely what we are, just by being alive.
And there are old-fashioned ways of talking about this too. There are these universal ideas that appear in different cultural costumes. And one of the main distinctions that appears throughout all different types of religions that correlate to a particular stage of cognitive development or cultural development. These universal themes of non-dual synthesis, where you realize your interconnectedness with nature and with culture and with other people. So this notion of the interconnectedness of the web of life, the body of Christ, or Buddha nature, Jesus on his tree and Buddha under his tree, is the same symbolic image, the person who has died to the flesh and been reborn of the spirit. Now, these are both products of the more idealistic kind of cosmology, and there's also the more pagan version, which has more to do with self-mastery, where these other traditions have more to do with self-transcendence or self-sacrifice. So basically what I'm saying is, I think that we can realize that all of these ways of talking about reality are poetic. Some symbols are more accurate than others, but there are these universal ideas. We don't have to throw out these traditions, we just have to put them in context and hold them in a way that harmonize with each other and with science. You don't have to be superstitious to be religious, and that is a really important distinction. For a long time in the past, that's been the case. The kind of religious tradition I'm talking about can fulfill all of these religious functions, and it ends the divisiveness. Buddhism isn't the one true way, Christianity isn't the one true way. Part of the problem in the past is why these traditions have become violent, have turned into some form of jihad, is because these traditions each seem to think that they have the one true way of talking about things. And this kind of overarching Joseph Campbell style comparative mythology type of approach ends the divisive nature of these religions, which is one of the main problems of pathology and why they become so unhealthy and dangerous. When you hold them as poetry, they're not superstitious, and when you hold them as poetry, they're not divisive. And those are the main reasons why religions are unhealthy. Alright, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, share with your friends. I got a lot more videos. Check out my video about Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson. And also, check out my video about what an integrative spiritual practice looks like. Not just focus on self-transcendence, not just focused on self-mastery, but integrating in the best of what all religious traditions bring to the table so that way we can have a truly holistic and integrative practice. Peace.